Prophet Shepherd Bushiri's Enlightened Christian Gathering, or ECG Church in Pretoria West. Now, they died during a stampede while they were seeking shelter in the church during Friday's severe thunderstorms in Pretoria. The church says it will assist the families of the deceased and those injured. We're joined from Pretoria by SABC reporter Ofentse Setimo. Ofentse, can you start by explaining the setup of this church for people who don't understand how 3 people can die trying to get out of bad weather?
Okay, thank you very much, Francis. What I can explain is that the church apparently operates from the main hall, which is the main church, where congregants would normally assemble. And there's 3 services that actually takes place during the week, which is on Monday, on Friday, and on Sunday. And they're saying that on one particular day, they would see between 40,000 and 60,000 congregants. Now, on this particular day, on Friday, there was an evening church service that was set to take place at 8 o'clock. But shortly before 8, there was an unexpected thunderstorm. This is the statement that was actually uttered by the spokesperson of the church, who's an attorney. Basically, what he told us was that there was an unexpected thunderstorm while some of the congregants were actually loitering around before going into the main hall and other halls which are overflow once the main hall which hosts the church is actually full. Now, what happened is that the congregants were actually caught off guard, some without any shelter, and then they started running to the immediate shelter that they could find. And during that whole chaos, that's when the 3 ladies unfortunately lost their lives. And out of that, 9 people actually got injured, and 5 of them were actually admitted at the Pretoria West Hospital. And you understand, it was only ladies. Out of that, there was a 12-year-old South African, and out of the 5, 3 were actually Botswana nationals and 2 were South Africans. So in terms of the scenario of the church, it's a big church that sees a lot of congregants. So it's quite a nightmare to actually manage the traffic prior to the beginning of the service.
And this is near the Pretoria Showground. So this is a permanent structure used by this church. It wasn't a temporary structure. And is it always used by ECG Church?
Yes, for quite a number of years, Hall J and a couple of Hall C, I think it's 4 halls actually at the showgrounds that actually cater for ECG. And over the years, they have been used by ECG as they have, like I mentioned, a big congregation between 40,000 and 60,000 within a day.
Is the church taking any responsibility here, saying that it should have been responsible for the safety of congregants?
Well, the church, all it said was that they regret what actually transpired, and it was actually not easy initially to get correspondence from the church. As you can imagine, the media actually got a tip-off from one of the nurses at Pretoria West Hospital when on Friday evening, following the disaster, that is the stampede that took place at the church, the nurse actually tipped off the media, and we started probing. And upon probing, that's when the church started corresponding with the media. But the church was not upfront initially to issue a statement to say this is what transpired and we are dealing with it. So upon inquiries, what they told us was that they regret what actually transpired, and they are working on trying to manage the traffic by putting signage to show that emergency evacuation site where it's supposed to be and what should be done in the case of an emergency.
Have we heard anything from the head, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri?
Prophet Bushiri's silence following this incident has been deafening. We tried to ask the spokesperson, who's the attorney, why he hasn't actually said anything following the incident. I mean, 1 life lost is 1 life too many. But from what we heard, the response that is given to us was that we've never asked for the prophet himself to actually come forward and give a statement as to whether he regrets what happened or his stance or his reaction following the incident, but he hasn't said anything thus far.
All right, thank you very much, Ofentse Setimo, from the SABC, following that story for us. For more, we're joined by Police Captain Augustina Selepe on the line. Thank you for being with us, Selepe. Is it true that police only arrived on Saturday when this actually happened on Friday? That's what we're hearing.
Good evening, Francis. SAPS learned about this incident on Saturday afternoon. At the time, nothing was reported to the police.
So when did you first hear of it? I mean, 3 people died. Just explain that delay fully.
We heard about the incident on Saturday after we received media inquiries from other journalists, Major General Mtombeni and the cluster commander for Pretoria, for Tshwane West cluster, and the management. They immediately dispatched to the scene. On arrival at the Tshwane West, at the Tshwane Center, they gathered information, and it is alleged that the congregation started to push each other when the rain started, and that led to the stampede.
Let me just clarify. So 3 people died on Friday, but the church did not alert police.
The police were not alerted
because of media
at all.
inquiries.
Yes, the police were not alerted at all. We just learned about the incident on Saturday afternoon after we received media inquiries from the journalists.
Where were the bodies at that stage? We understand that the victims have still not been identified.
We do have 3 females unknown. They are still not identified. Today they were moved from the mortuary, from the private mortuary. They were taken to the Pretoria government mortuary.
Why can they not be identified? It does sound like a lot of foreign nationals attend this church.
We're currently appealing to the members of the public to come forward if they know that they have somebody who went on Friday to attend the church and that person has not returned. They can just come to Pretoria police station so we can assist them. And also tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we urge the public to come to Pretoria government mortuary, whereby they will be able to identify the victims. And when they come to the mortuary, they must bring along their IDs and the IDs of the victims.
Is anyone specifically under criminal investigation here, like the Prophet Shepherd Bushiri himself?
Currently, we are investigating an inquest docket, and then through our investigation, if there are more charges to be added, then we'll be able to do that after we have investigated.
Surely it must be a problem to police that the deaths were not even reported on the day.
Really, it's a problem to us because according to the law, immediately if there is any person who has died on the scene, the police need to be alerted as soon as possible.
Off the bat, does it look like the church could have prevented this, or was it a complete unforeseen event that couldn't have been prevented?
The information that we have received currently, it seems as if the situation, the circumstances were unforeseen, but as I've indicated, we're busy with our own investigation.
All right, thank you. That was the police's Augustina Silepe confirming that incredibly the church did not alert authorities when 3 people were killed in that stampede on Friday. Police only going on Saturday after media inquiries.